Most of you create Miro board videos but struggle to attract buyers. It's because you don't understand the exact principles of how to make a good Miro board video. In today's video, I'm going to go over exactly how I structure all of my Miro board videos, how do you convert and create some brand positioning, and how I come up with ideas specifically to create the leverage that I'm creating. I've generated over 200 sales calls from YouTube with the average lead being of this exact caliber. And the reason why I'm able to do all of this is because I leverage the visual assets of creating good Miro boards along with the backend aspect of why those Miro boards work in the first place. Let me show you exactly how to create these Miro boards because what you say must match visually. Your brain wants to save out on as much energy as possible. For this reason, it will ignore things which lead to cognitive dissonance. Anything that is super hard to process, it's not going to try and process. For example, if you're fat and are watching a video, for example, let's say you hear this sentence, the script of the person is speaking and saying, you need to have a macros tracker on your phone. And visually, they show a clip of them sipping coffee. It does not make sense at all. What you're hearing is not making sense with what you're visually seeing. Because once there is a mismatch between the visual aspect of what you're saying and what the people are listening, the brain cannot process all of that information. So if there is too much to process, cognitive dissonance is maxed out, you get ignored. This is exactly why most people's Miro boards suck, is because what they're saying visually does not match exactly what they are wanting to convey, from an audio perspective. So if you're selling anything B2C, you need to showcase the end image more. If you're creating a Miro board for a specific B2C video, or you're selling a program, or you're teaching people how to make money online, whatever the fuck you do, right? If you sell B2B, you need to showcase the end image more, because the reason why is your prospects value the end transformation more than how you get there, right? Your prospects will much rather value what the end goal is, the dream result, rather than the exact effort that they have to take. So for example, if you sell dating coaching, show the pics with you and the girls, right? Your prospect doesn't care about your 3-step framework of texting to get girls, right? They don't care about that. What they are going to care about is the girl that you're actually with. So imagine, like, let's say you're fat, right? You are going to be caring much more about how you look more than the metabolic process of optimal fat loss, right? It makes sense when I say this out loud, but most people don't do this, is because first of all, people understand, like you as a founder understand that if you're selling B2C, the end result matters the most, but you don't leverage that within your content ecosystem. You don't actually use that when you're making videos, and I don't understand why people don't do it. It is the easiest way for you to visually convince people to watch more of what you do. Now, if you sell B2B, you need to showcase the systems and the diagrams, because you need to understand that as founders, we value systems a lot, right? As a founder, you value the concept of systems a lot. We understand the importance of systems. Therefore, we prefer it if we can visually see how we can get the end result, right? It makes much more sense for you to showcase the step by step process that you take your prospects through to help them get the end result, because we as founders value those steps, right? If it makes sense, we as founders value those steps. If you're only selling the outcome, immediately classifies you as a larper. You're a professional larper. If you're only like showcasing the Lamborghinis and the girls in Miami, you're immediately a larper. Like, people will believe you're a scammer, because at the end of the day, everybody knows that that's just bullshit, right? For example, if I have to visually give an example of how a good Miro board would look like, it would be like this. When I showcased this Miro board, people loved it very much, because first of all, you can see this, a complex step-by-step flowchart, color graded. What this does is that it signals to your audience and the viewer that the person who's made this Miro board has put in so much effort into it that they are actually wanting to give me a lot of value. If you make a metabolic process of fat loss and show this to your prospects in a B2C YouTube video, they're not going to care, because at the end of the day, if you're selling B2C, the end result matters way more than the exact steps that you take. And if you're selling B2B, the steps matter way more than the end result, because as founders, we tend to think a lot more logically than most people do. And this is just the simplest way for you to visually make sense of what you're saying. Right now, obviously, if you want to design everything, we can go into that way further. I have entire SOPs for that within my own company, so that we can leverage and create these Miro boards. But you need to make sure that what you are saying and what people are hearing is making sense, because the moment it makes sense is where you're optimizing for lack of cognitive dissonance. Second thing is brand position. Now, This is something that most people really don't understand. See, you need to understand that information is not a deficit anymore. Impact is. If you consider information as an asset, if you think about information as a substance that people lack, there is no, that we are not in a scenario in which, a small percentage of people hold the most amount of information and the rest of the people just don't. Like, we're not in that scenario. We're in a scenario in which about pretty much everybody has access to the same kind of information. Everybody is somewhat similar. Maybe some people have more information, some people have less, but overall it's very same. So we're not in an information deficit economy. We are not in an economy wherein people lack the information to get the results. We're not in that economy. There is no top 1% of people holding the information, because information is everywhere, impact isn't. That is the thing that I want you to understand, is that we are in an impact deficit economy. And I can go on about this for a very long time, but you need to understand that you need to have a vision in place. You need to have a vision. And the reason why I say a vision in place is because biologically there are certain parts of your brain which get stimulated the moment you create a tribal sensation. If you think about this, right now in this current day and age, you are making videos to millions and millions of people. Now, the reason why this impact scenario works the best is because of the fact that we as humans are tribal creatures. We value social settings. We value situations in which we're socially together, right? We value those situations. Now, because of this, there are certain parts of your brain which get stimulated the moment you have a vision in place. Because I want you to imagine this. Who would you rather follow? If you were, like, let's imagine you were in Rome, right? You're in the Roman army. There is a leader, the general of the army. And the general of the army is there saying that you're going to die in a war because the king wants to make some money. Would you die for a war? Would you die in that war? You wouldn't, right? You wouldn't sacrifice your life for that. But if that general came up to you and told you, like, okay, soldiers, we're going to ride to our deaths. And the reason why we're going to ride to our deaths is because we're glorious Roman emperors. Not emperors, sorry. We're glorious Roman soldiers. And Rome is our pride, and we're going to fight to defend it. This seems way more like something you would want to follow, because at the end of the day, we're social creatures, and once you have a vision in place for your brand to fit within it, you stimulate these parts of the brain. So imagine you create a scenario in which you are building a brand, and there is a vision in place that every single person who becomes a part of the brand can follow through with. When that happens, people are going to love it. People love that shit. Reason being that it stimulates certain parts of your brain which are evolutionary, for example, the amygdala and stuff. And once you do that, you create a level of influence, because now people like you, they're bought into you, not logically, but emotionally. Right? This is why it works. The next thing that you need to do is create one-off positioning. Because right now you're in an economy wherein you are not able to create any level of differentiation because you sound like everyone else, right? Your prospects need to believe you're different. Because the moment you sound like everyone else, you're fucked. You're fucked. How do you create this unique positioning? You become the owner of a sub niche. Now, let me explain how that works. This is the total niche that exists. This is what you own. A sub niche is a subsector of a niche in which the interests of the sub niche and the major niche align. What that actually means, in an example, let's say you're a fitness coach, right? This is your profile, XYZ fitness coach, founder at company name. I help busy professionals get fit, DM fitness to start. You've seen a lot of fitness creators. If you're a fitness coach, you probably have a bio similar to this, right? This sucks because it's super generic. There is no unique value proposition, doesn't own any segment of the market. Your prospects now believe you're just another fitness coach. When you listen and when you look at this profile, you feel like, oh, this guy is just another fitness coach, right? You don't feel anything different. You don't feel like this guy has any value to provide. But now imagine we do the same scenario of creating a sub niche. I will make you dangerous to kill. Over ABC number of students coached, DM ascend for more info. When you listen to this, it's unique. When you read this, you don't think of a fitness coach. When you read, like, I will make you dangerous to kill, is the first thought in your mind, oh, this is another fitness coach. No, it's not. Your prospects want to have the ability to be so healthy that they can't be killed. As a fitness enthusiast myself, I want to be in a position wherein I can't be killed. Obviously, no one will. You own the segment of the market because you're positioning yourself in that way. You are now the guy who helps people become dangerous to kill. The keyword signals elevating to a higher level, which is what your prospects care about. Ascend. When you hear the word ascend, you feel like, okay, we're elevating to a higher stance. We're elevating to a position in which we will dominate the niche, or we will dominate people. You become someone new. And because your bio and the way you're creating your messaging and your assets, the way it is structured, it makes people feel like this guy's different. He's not a fitness coach. What I like to call unique positioning. What you're doing essentially is you're creating a sub niche within the space of fitness that are people interested in fitness, and specifically owning the segment of people wanting to become hard to kill. You own that segment. Now, because you own that segment, the rest of the people also follow through. Because think about this, right? You're targeting people with fitness, and inside fitness, there are certain groups of people which have certain desires. You own one of those desires because you need to create emotional resonance within your content. You need to have a clear understanding of the exact emotions your prospects value, because we want in almost all of our videos to make them experience this emotion, because emotions is how you become memorable. Providing more information is not going to help you out, because at the end of the day, people don't value information. Like we discussed earlier, people don't value information. We're in an impact deficit economy, and the way you defeat and position yourself is by making yourself memorable, having an impact on people's lives. Where you do that is with emotions. For example, I know these three exact emotions as things that you actually value. You value validation, you value fulfillment, you value freedom, right? You value all these three emotions. I understand that. And because of this, I'm able to structure every single one of my videos to make you experience those emotions, right? I can help you experience those emotions, these exact three emotions which you value. Because if I make you experience these emotions, you now are going to think of me differently. You're going to think that this guy's actually pretty smart, he's memorable, he's pretty good, his content is pretty good, right? And that's when I win, and that's when you enter into my ecosystem, and that's when you win. So, for example, your audience values and craves love. Everybody does. I value and crave love, right? So your audience values and craves love. You've got the first video, a video of you hugging a girl, showing a partner and how good they are. Good. A perfect video, because it, first of all, visually and auditorily makes sense. Second, it conveys the right emotion that you want to convey. For example, let's say your audience values and craves love, and you show them a My Robot video of you showing your text message screenshots and explaining slop. Do you think they will care? Do you think they're going to experience that emotion? Do you think that is the best vehicle for them to experience this emotion? It is not. And because of that, because it is not the best way or the best vehicle to experience the emotion, they just don't care. And because they don't care, they don't convert. You see how all of this makes sense, that the way you visually showcase the information that you speak about also makes sense with the exact way you position yourself. Because if you don't position yourself properly, you're not going to make it. Like, nobody's going to listen to what you have to say if you don't position yourself. Now, this is the exact content ideation system that I leverage to be able to come up with ideas. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that this is what a visual representation of a system looks like. Now, one of the key things that I see a lot of people complain about is that they complain that their content system does not work. You need to understand that a system will only work and give you the output on what it is supposed to do. For example, if you've built a content system, if you have a system in place to make content and it's not getting you results, it's because it was engineered to do so. Your system will never give you the bad outputs. It will only give you the outputs it was engineered for. And this is very important for you to understand, because you cannot build great results if you do not have the right systems in place. A system is basically a collection of inputs provided into a system which gives out an output which is, governed by feedback loops and the environment or the market. This is how a system functions. Now, most content systems suck is because they're not built for the right things. For example, this is my content system. I have a custom software that does it for me, by the way. So that's not something I'm going to talk about right now. But as an input, we provide the ISOP psychographics document. And a lot of people ask me what is psychographics. It is important to understand between the difference between demographics and psychographics. Demographics is the age, the gender, the place of birth. This bullshit information. Psychographics is what they believe, what they think about, what they care about, what is their desires, what do they actually value. It's extremely important for you to have all of these in place, because if you do not have all of these in place, you will never be able to create the leverage that you need. Secondly is the offer breakdown document. We provide AI with the right contextual knowledge about the offer so that we're able to help it engineer all of the content towards getting people to convert for the offer. Third thing is providing a brand strategy document. This is what I do done for you for my clients. We provide a brand strategy document so that AI now, first of all, understands who you're trying to target. Secondly, it understands how to structure everything based on your brand strategy. And thirdly, it knows where to point the direction and point the compass to so that people convert. We provide all of this as input. Now, you don't do all of this shit. What you do is you copy titles, you copy video ideas. For example, we're going to take a look at Suvi right here. I'm going to show you exactly how I would actually restructure this based on my ideation framework. So first of all, this is the video that he created. I reprogrammed my brain, then made $224,000 a month. What this essentially is, in first principles, I did a weird specific action, then got dream result in a specific time frame or specific age. A differentiating factor, a contradictory factor. Let's take a look at some video ideas. Let's say you're a fitness coach. You can make a video like I junked food for 90 days, then lost 20 pounds in 6 hours. Boom. I stopped ads for 30 days, then made $100,000 with my store. Boom. If you're selling a dropshipping mentorship, let's say you're selling dating. I deleted Tinder, then found my wife at 25. This is such a goated idea, by the way. If you're a dating coach, steal this shit because this is a goated idea. I rewind my brain, then made $100,000 at 21. You see how all of these videos are like I was able to create a working video based on the exact person that I'm trying to target as fast as a couple of seconds, right? AI does this better than us, by the way. So my software does this way better. But you do this and you're able to create a scenario in which you can basically just come up with infinite content ideas because all you have to do to come up with ideas is understand what the idea is trying to convey. And then based on that, create a title that fits the exact niche that you're trying to target. So that then at the end of the day, they're going to convert. This is very important for you to understand. And the last thing that I would suggest and want you to implement is have the discipline to make niche content because it absolutely sucks. It absolutely sucks to create niche content. It sucks to have to sit down and get 20 views, 30 views, 40 views a video, 400 views a video, 1,000 views a video, wherein you could get millions of views if you just make it super broad. But honestly, have the discipline to make niche content because it's going to pay off so much for you in the future because all of my clients are able to get massive results and every single thing that I'm building within my company is based upon the fact of niche content is going to pay off way more in the future. That's how you're going to be able to create a Miro board walkthrough based on the idea, based on how you position yourself and how to visually convey the right things so that you're able to attract a caliber of prospects who have the money and who are completely ready to solve the problem that you are trying to provide a solution to. Now, if you want to work with me one on one and want to know more about what I do, click the first link in the description, book in a call with me. I'll personally talk to you. If not, you can go watch other videos. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Peace.